Welcome to Rise Up. I'm Alia Halal.
And I'm Irfan Alamgir.
And we're joined here with Hadil Elkhouly for our Human Rights Report, which we do on a daily basis.
Yes.
And we're excited to hear what you have to tell us, Hadil.
Thank you so much, Alia. Thank you, Dr. Arfan. It's good to be here
Hadil.
with you again. And this morning I was thinking it's really important to look back at Turkey. Turkey is the country where we had the big case of the 104, where it pulled back 104 members of the faith who had fled persecution in their home countries, who approached the borders legally, officially to claim asylum as the law says, who were backed up by 28 human rights organizations who had coordinated with the UNHCR, with the border, with the Bulgarian border, with Frontex. So it was very legal, very official. Despite that, Turkish authorities pulled them back, violently beat them, shot gunshots in the air, all on live TV, where we had the scenes of them brutally beating up men, women, children. The case made big headlines, as we know, and after international pressure with the UN, with several human rights organizations, the Turkish judiciary ruled in the favor of the 104, who were then, after the incident of the 104 and the border, were arrested for almost half a year in deportation centers in horrific conditions. So after half a year, the Turkish judiciary ruled in favor of the 104, cancelled all deportation orders and said that their presence and their action at the border was completely within the rule of law. So there you have it, like 104 people arrested for half a year for nothing. You know, going through so much for nothing, children being traumatized for nothing. They were released, and despite that, so this was now in 2023, here we are in 2025, and as we speak, there are another 3 members of the same 104 who got arrested again in Turkey for simply manifesting their faith, for simply holding up not even a banner, like they had basically just a leaflet that said, about the faith, and they found themselves thrown in detention centers and being literally moved around from one city to another, in moving them from one detention center to another, and again threatening for them to be deported back to Iran. So these are 3 Iranian members of the faith, and we know the situation in Iran and how the Iranian regime is hell-bent on, arresting, tracking down any member of the faith where they could literally face as horrible as execution. So the 3 members of the faith, they have done nothing against the law. They were, simply peacefully manifesting their faith, and they were charged with threatening national security, public order. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? And for spreading new religion.
Threatening national security after they just had arrested a couple of years ago 104 members of the same religion unlawfully, and they were told it was wrong what they did, and now they're having the audacity to do the same thing to 3 people who did nothing wrong.
Who did nothing wrong, and who they went and they arrested from their homes. That's the crazy thing. They went and they arrested them from their homes. And then in the police reports, it's really, when you look at the details, it's insane. So they are literally trying to fabricate a case against them. The 104 and these members, they now had residency in the country because obviously they were released. What's their legal status? So they had no choice but to try to apply for temporary international protection so that their stay is legal in Turkey. So they did that, and within the procedures of the case, after they arrested them, in the police reports, they tried to fabricate a charge against them and accuse them of not having legal residency in the country when they had.
Whoa.
So you can see the lawyer, of course, who was working on the case was outraged because she said that all the steps that they were doing, from moving them from one deportation center to the other, is illegal, that they are telling them that they're trying to deport them is illegal because there is a judiciary process. They cannot deport someone when the court is still looking into that decision. But it's a mental. They're trying to mentally harass them because obviously the last deportation center, they put them right in the border next to Iran. So basically trying to, and they're seeing people every day, they just fear-mongering, and every day they see people there just being taken, deported. So you can imagine the mental trauma of not knowing why you are held. I asked the lawyer, are there any charges? Like, why are they being held at the moment? Why are they, like, for now almost 3 months, held in the detention center for what crime? So the lawyer said it is completely illegal to deport them. These charges are fabricated. There's no basis for it. And on top of that, you see, it's really, again, in the details. So what they do is when they arrested them and they took them from one detention center to the other, what do? They put them intentionally close to ISIS members that are also in the detention center. They put them next to fundamentalist groups and then, step back. And
so whatever might happen may happen, and it's not on them.
It's not on them, and so they're offering no protection. They're putting members of a persecuted religious minority next to fundamentalists in a detention center. And on top of that, threaten to deport them back to Iran. It's absolute madness.
And they say that these members are a national security threat while they're doing this to them. This is just the...
Yeah, it just sounds like one big psyop, doesn't it? It's just a very psychologically advanced way to basically torture people into submission, right? This is what they're doing essentially with these people.
That's exactly what they're doing. And they try to make them sign papers without the presence of a lawyer, which they refused. And when the lawyer comes, they're like, they give them a different paper, so the lawyer doesn't see that, what they were actually trying to do. Wow. So there is no rule of law there. There is no respect of human rights. There is no protection. There is no religious freedom. And the same as we did with the 104, we'll continue fighting for them and mobilizing everyone that we can to work for their release.
Now, instead of setting up these centers on the premise of human rights and how to treat somebody in a just and fair way, out of compassion that these human beings are fleeing for their lives, they're not doing it because they just fancy the weather on our side of the border, they seem to be sitting down to conjure up a plan that can inflict the most possible psychological trauma that they can in order to even take out that thought of this as a possibility in the future, right? So once it seems as though what they're trying to do in these detention centers is, once these people leave, they never think about even trying to seek asylum in this particular country.
Yeah,
the country of Turkey, it seems, has done this, and they've mastered this, it seems.
Yes, absolutely, because they're trying to break them so that they voluntarily ask to be deported.
Exactly. This is exactly what's going on. What kind of hospitality is this? Is this something the Prophet Muhammad would do? Turkey claims to be an Islamic state, of course. They're very proud of their Ottoman heritage, where they were the ruling caliphs in the earth from a worldly perspective, at least. And this is their treatment. And I think the treatment of the 104 members of our religion in Turkey was absolutely abysmal. It was one of the worst things, and it was a very sophisticated form of psychological work that they were doing to try to break these people down. But the faith remained firm.
Yeah, absolutely. They actually, it was them who succeeded, because we spoke about what happened in that detention center specifically. Yes. And there were stories that they were telling me, the 104, whenever they, for any reason, when they had to go back to that detention center for anything, for paperwork or for anything, they would literally just come and tell them, here's your paper, but please don't come back.
Right.
So they, it was a punishment for them for what they have done to the believers, and it will continue to be this way for any country that if they give protection to the people of God, God blesses them. if they grant asylum, if they help, not just the people of the Dawah, the people of God, any oppressed people that are given shelter, that are given protection. God always, showers this country, this nation, these people with blessings, because in the end, what does God want? He wants people to live in prosperity. He wants people to live in harmony. He wants an earth that, where its people flourish. But if you have a nation that thinks of every sinister way to harm, to abuse, to oppress people who are already vulnerable, who have already lost everything, what do you expect? What do you expect God would do to that nation? So, unfortunately, the history keeps repeating itself, but it seems they never learn, unfortunately.
Yes.
No, it's a really good reminder of what happened in Turkey, because there were so many tales to tell, and I know that we worked together on a few cases where the sick people were tortured in literally, I mean, people use the word torture lightly, but some of the cases that Hadil and I spoke about from a health point of view were really, really it was beyond my imagination that somebody could do this in a place that was meant to provide asylum to refugees, essentially. People running for their lives, as we said, and some of the cases were absolutely horrific. People with serious conditions being given medications that would worsen them. There was an incident of one of the guards who was telling the medics to speed up the process, and to speed up the process, he thought it was a good idea to sort of squeeze the IV fluid bag so that the infusion would run faster. And of course, this can create all sorts of problems. If you've got an intravenous infusion going and somebody's squeezing the pressure into it, it can cause lots of issues, like an embolus, which is an air bubble into the mix, and this can go into the lungs and cause other problems. So there were many things like the giving of psychiatric medications to people so that they will act as if they are out of their mind. And then this becomes another reason to do something else. And this was a very, very difficult time for our faith, but we had this immense team behind the scenes that were working, and we had the faith of the people who were there on the ground, and it is turning slowly but surely into a success story.
It will, absolutely. The triumph is always going to be for the oppressed.
Yes.
So,
thank you, Hadil, for the amazing work you and your team are doing and continue to do, and it's needed. This work is extremely, extremely needed, and as you said before as well, this work didn't just help the members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light, but it actually shed light on the oppression that is being faced by so many of these detained people that are actually innocent. And even if someone has committed a crime, they do not deserve to be treated in an inhumane way or abused or tortured. So, alhamdulillah, that some light is being shed on this, and hopefully there will be some progress very soon.
Inshallah.
Look forward to the updates, inshallah.
I will, inshallah.
Thank you, Adil.
And we're going to be going to a quick break. Stay tuned and we will be right back.